Hi everyone, Misilla here, Learn to Grow. I hope that you guys are enjoying your weekend. So I'm going to be harvesting our fall potatoes today, and these were planted in June, so that was about a little bit over 3 months ago. And I mainly planted Yukon Gold potatoes, and those mature in about 90 to 100 days. So before you harvest your potatoes, make sure that the plants have completely died back, and I actually leave them for another 2 to 3 weeks after the plants die back, which will partially cure them and will thicken up the skin a little bit, so that will prepare them for long-term storage. So this is how this bed looks like. I think about a month ago the stems were still green and the leaves were all green, but they did die back a little earlier than expected because of all the smoke that we got for 2 weeks. So this soil is pretty loose and loamy, as you can see. So I'm not going to be using a spade or a fork to dig. I'm just going to use my hands. And if you do decide to use a pitchfork, just make sure you lift up your potato or dig it up about at least 6 to 8 inches away from the main stem. That way you don't damage the potatoes. All right, so here is the main stem, and we'll just move the soil to the side. Oh, there's some, these are flower bulbs. I better put those aside. Okay, there's one. These are the Yukon Gold potatoes, I believe. There's more. Let's keep digging. And you can compost your garden trimmings as long as they were not infested by disease. Oh my goodness, look at this. Oh, that is huge. How big this one is. Wow, healthy potato. More. This one was exposed to sunlight, as you can see. You can still eat this. I will just cut off the green part, but if the whole potato is green, do not eat it. I think I've mentioned this many times, but green potatoes will most likely contain high amounts of solanine, which is a poisonous glycoalkaloid. The plants use that chemical as a defense mechanism against insect pests and animals. So here's our harvest. I think it's about around 12 pounds. Now, if the plants didn't die prematurely, I think these small ones would have grown a little bigger, but that's okay. But we did get some really nice sized ones here, especially that one big one here. This is probably the biggest potato I've ever grown. I'm curious to see how much this one weighs, so we'll weigh it. Anyways, guys, so the reason why we plant a lot of Yukon Gold potatoes is that they're actually good for long-term storage, and you can store them for around 4 to 6 months as long as you cure them. So if you didn't let them cure in the ground or partially cure them, you can still cure them inside. And I will leave a link below on how to cure your potatoes. Just make sure to leave them or keep them away from any light or sunlight, that way they don't turn green. And the curing process takes about 2 to 3 weeks. And also just make sure you give them plenty of air circulation, and somewhere where it's not the air is not too dry. They need a little bit of humidity, actually, about, I believe, 80 to 90% of humidity, so that they don't start to shrivel and dry up. So just make sure to keep them in a cool and dark place with good ventilation. So my next planting will most likely be in March, so early spring when the ground is workable. Actually, I do sometimes plant them in the winter if the ground is not frozen. So if you're planning to grow potatoes, just make sure to get them in the ground early spring. You'll get a harvest by early summer, and then your mid-season or late potatoes can be planted before the end of June. Anyways, guys, check out the playlist below on growing potatoes, and I hope that you guys enjoy this video and find it helpful. Enjoy your weekend, everyone, and thank you so much for joining me. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and I'll see you on the next one. Happy gardening!